What's it say, then? Well, go on. Can't you read your own writing?
It says Sam Wilson.
Oh, who's he when he's at home?
It's you.
Eh?
It's you.
How do you know it's me?
My uncle's from here at Crossman's.
Under me, is he? Do I stand on him, then?
He's a labourer there at Foundry. He works for George Barrett.
Barrett love to you. Off with you now.
Sunday afternoon. Nothing to do, like me when I was his age.
You want to get it clean?
No cars to write on then, unless Grandad Toby came round. No, I've one of my own. Inherited, you could say. Left me all that side of the street, did Toby. Gave one to me Grandad Barretloff, another to George. Frank bought his and I sold the rest. Got him off me back. Sarah wanted to come and live here when we got married 8 years since. Thought buying her dad's old house would be too much for me. So it was for a bit. Still, we managed. We kept on going till the sun came out. We've never had it so good now, they tell us. Sunday afternoon. Dorsey Sunday. Women in the front room, gassing away at 20 words to the dozen. Frank fallen asleep. Old Frank. Another long session in Parliament ahead of him. Labour falling out right, left and centre. Macmillan at the top of the class with 100-seat majority. The wind of change, he said in Africa. Barely a breath of it here.
Shh! Honestly, wouldn't surprise me if somebody didn't ask
Are we
them
off
to come
then?
clean their
Are you
drains
bored
out
with us
for them
already,
on
are you?
Tuesdays.
Hey. Asleep.
Well, there's manners for you.
Nah, he's tired. Let him be. Got your handbag? I chased all over the countryside after that damned handbag.
Oh, you've an hard life, you do.
Well, I'll wait for her outside.
He says to chase all over the countryside for that handbag.
He's right, it does.
So we're having it at your place, then?
Well, suits me if it's all right with you. You sure you can manage, though?
Well, we're not going to leave it up to her. I mean, we'll be there, won't we?
True, we will. I know, but I don't want to have too much to do.
Well, that would be an enormous help if you spoke it up a bit nearer the time, you know. Yeah.
Yakety yak. Women. Eileen and Ethel in their 50s now, but fighting the good fight still. To be somebody in their own right in a man's world. Not like Sarah, content. Is she? She seems so. But would she tell me if she wasn't? Would I ask?
They're talking about you.
Are we off, then?
He's getting restless.
Then out came Grandad.
Bye, Grandad. When's he going to get in that hearing aid?
He hears what he wants to hear. Been having words with George. I heard him through the wall.
Well, it's Sunday. Can't have a Sunday without a row.
We'll be moving then.
Hey, where's he off to? Look, hadn't you best go after him in case he gets under traffic?
He knows where he's going.
Where?
For peace and bloody quiet.
If he wants peace and... From others, he should dole a bit more out himself.
We'll be off then.
For the umpteenth time.
Ta-ra for now.
Bye. Bye.
God's pyjamas.
Odd.
Sunday.
She weathers well, doesn't she?
Sarah?
Aye.
Ah, you never think she'd 3 kids to bring up, would you?
You mean 4, don't you? You've missed out some.
Oh,
Did Frank ever ask him, by the way, about George?
oh, hasn't he said anything?
Well, up to me, he hasn't.
Oh, well, I'll bring it up again.
Well, I'd have mentioned it myself, only it'd be easier for him to say no if Frank asks, and I'd not wish to put pressure on him.
Well, has he asked himself at the job, George?
I said there wasn't a light job going. He reckons he's all right, but I'm sure his back's getting worse. Where is he? They're working shifts at the foundry to make up for a breakdown he's due on at 3. Now, he's not still round at his dad's because he's gone out.
Well, that needs dropped off round there like this one here.
Oh, I best go and see, I suppose. I wouldn't put it past him.
Go on, sleepyhead. Wake up.
Eh?
Wake up, I said. You've a train to catch.
Ah, I know of a train to catch. At 11:30 in the morning.
Oh,
I'm not due back till tomorrow.
you should have said.
I did. You've forgotten. Memory like a sieve.
You have, you mean? You forgot to speak to Sam about that lighter job for George, didn't you?
No, I didn't forget. I spoke to him.
Oh, is it all right then? Because Ethel's been asking.
I don't know. I told Sam what I was asked and left it at that. How bad is George, anyway?
Oh, she reckons it's getting worse, his back.
Ah, it doesn't stop him boozing, does it? Should have seen him when I met him down in London when he was down for the final this year. Disgusting.
Well, it's a big day for him, isn't it, final? Ashamed of him, were you?
Ah, as a matter of fact, I was.
He's not there. Hang on, I'll bet he's come round the back and gone up. Yeah, his sandwiches are gone off the table. Not a goodbye, even. What's he think he's up to, going off like that? He's not that rushed. What on earth's he think he's doing?
He wanted to call at the allotment.
So we're having it at our house, are we? Are you sure he'll come?
It's his birthday.
Fuss and bother over naught, he'll say. Money to chuck away. Have it if you must, but don't ask me to come and help you waste your brass.
I'll tell him it's our wedding anniversary. He'll come for that, if I ask him to. Unless he remembers that it was really last week, of course.
I'm sorry.
I'll forgive you. It's 8 years, after all. It's after 7 the itch is supposed to start, isn't it? I've not noticed you scratching yet.
Does it feel like 8?
At least 8.
Right. Tom's birthday, end of next month.
12. He wants a record player of his own, like the one Morris has lent him.
Well, we'll have to wait a bit for that, till we get the new house straight.
I told him he'd have to settle for a record. Do I get commission on what I've saved?
Did it worry him that his dad didn't send him anything last year, do you think?
Worried you more than it did him, didn't it?
Well, you're the one that knows things like that. I don't spend enough time with him, do I? Wow. Things will ease off a bit when Stan retires and we get a new works manager.
You've been saying that for the last 2 years. Suppose it's you who's the new works manager.
It won't be.
Why not?
I'm not properly qualified for one thing. Not as they want nowadays.
What's another thing?
I'll not take it, that's all. I want more than work out of life, Sarah. We're all right, aren't we? You don't want me to take it, would you?
Not if you don't want to. As long as you don't say I'm stifling your ambition because I want more of your time.
Ambition? What ambition? I got my ambition years back when I got out of there.
You know, I've not the slightest idea where we're going.
Billy Tripp's at Skeleton. He's the secretary of the factory bowling club. I can't play tomorrow night. I have to let him know.
Oh, well, if we're going that way, can we call at the old house? There's something I want from the garden.
Suits me.
I hope the kids aren't driving Morris mad.
Nice big house, this, eh, Tom?
It's cheaper than the other one, Uncle Morris.
Is it?
Mum said it was. I like the old house best. Deb's climbing that old tree trunk.
Oh, she'll be all right. You keep an eye on her, eh?
She'll get dirty.
Well, we'll just have to clean her up again, won't we? That's one of those things that's easily put right, isn't it?
Yes, I suppose so.
You get used to it, you know. The house, I mean. It's the people in it that count. Well, I should know. I live on my own, don't I? When I'm not there. When I'm not there, it's empty.
Up to mischief.
I'm mending my boots, aren't I? I should have thought that'd keep me out of mischief.
Why don't you let Eileen take 'em to cobblers for you? You'll freeze to death in here.
It doesn't take me all day to mend a pair of boots. Shouldn't you be catching a train back to London?
I'm not due back till tomorrow afternoon. I'll catch the 11:30 in the morning.
I don't suppose it makes all that difference whether you go or not. Macmillan sitting there with his 100-seat majority that you give him.
Who did?
Labour did, with the help of the Union. Falling out in public over disarmament and the Constitution. What are we without clothes for? We've always been for nationalisation. Why should we choose to fall out now over something we've always believed in?
We're a democratic party.
One lot pulling one way and another lot pulling other.
Well, that's democracy, Dad.
They voted against official party policy at this year's conference. I suppose that's democracy and all.
Union block vote, that was. They swung to the left since Arthur Deakin went. 1 million votes transferred because one chap replaces another.
You didn't complain when it used to swing to the right, did you?
You've got a point there. Has George been in? Have you seen him?
Not since I sent him off half an hour since with his tail between his legs, I haven't.
Why was that?
Well, it lines up with what we've just been on about. They've elected a communist to be branch secretary at Crosman's. Billy Tripp, that lives in their old house at Skeleton.
What's that to do with George?
He carries a vote, doesn't he?
Well, maybe he used it.
That's what he said he did.
Well, you can't ask more than that.
You can ask him to tell the bloody truth. He's a liar. He never voted him.
You'd have given him credit for telling truth, would you?
You need credit for to tell the truth nowadays, do you?
It's no good talking to George about ultimate values, Dad.
About what?
What about truth for its own sake?
Any road. I flayed him with my tongue. I flayed him for a lifetime of taking the easy way out, leaving it all to others. He's been ashamed of me all his life.
You didn't tell him that?
That and a lot more I told him.
You shouldn't have said that to him, Dad.
Why? You're in Parliament. He's your brother. Have you never been shamed on him?
Hey, Dikey, who put George Barraclough on slinging moulding boxes?
Mills, let beat us off. He's religious. He won't work Sundays.
We're asking for the factory inspector to come in and have a look at that crane. Says the bloody company won't. Been wonky for years.
Fred always said it was something to note.
Fred's not shop steward now, is he? Tell Barraclough to watch himself.
Right.
Hey, you bowling tomorrow?
Aye, Fred also.
Aye. I'm off home then. I'm not on time and a half, you know.
What are we doing here anyway? It's their house now, you know, them that bought it.
I've not moved in yet. I want to pinch a bit of that London pride. Ah, I knew I'd left that shawl somewhere.
Don't be greedy, leave some for them. They only bought the place to get their hands on that stuff.
they can't have bought it off us for the view. Galwick Stacks. I got out of the pit anyway. A victory or a defeat? What did I say to Morris once? The working class struggle's what it says. A bloody struggle. She'll miss this house. Like she missed her dad. Though hardly anybody else did. Funny chap, Arthur. One foot in one camp, one in another. Said that about me. She moved because I wanted to. Why did I want to? Because I've become too content, too easy in life.
You keeping your eyes skinned?
Thief. What have I done these last 8 years, apart from get 8 years older? Brought 2 kids into the world, brought up another chaps, settled down. Even Grandad had not denied that. Life's not clobbered me like it did Morris when Jessie drove into the crossing and killed herself and the kids. On a day like this, just another day like this.
Oh, give my back a rub, will you? Oh, it's bad.
I've forgotten something.
Is it important?
It must have been, or I'd not be worried about it.
Work?
I don't know. Probably.
Well, come back when you get to work on Monday.
God sent Sunday. Thank God for Monday.
Oh, you're still on about that.
So they said they call us our house?
Oh, yes. Sarah had a book of yours. She was returning.
Oh, I better get back then. What time did they say they'd be back here?
Oh, I told them not to bother, so long as they're back in time for church.
They go to church?
No, I mean in time for me to go.
Oh.
It amuses you, doesn't it, that I should go to church?
Oh, no.
But it's made it possible, you see, for me to go on since Jessie died. I believe it all, you see. The resurrection of the body, the life of the world to come.
Like a lamb to the bloody slaughter, he went the day he married yon. It weren't the way we brought him up, Polly. It was what she did with him when she got him chained up. Give us your wage, George. Yes, love. Do as I say, George. Turn your back on anybody that says different. By God, did he not? Did he not turn his back on me from that day on? He cared for me, you all have said. Well, happen he did once. You say things you don't Alice mean, you get driven to it by scarts like yon.
My God, he'd have served her right if he'd gone with that woman he took a fancy to that time. By the living daylights.
Who's your visitor? I thought I heard somebody.
Started hearing things, have you? You know what that's a sign of, don't you?
I brought you some chicken we'd left from yesterday.
Feeding me leftovers now, is it? A choice between me and next door's cat as to who's favoured, was
It's
it?
same as we're having, you miserable old bugger.
Don't you know when you're having your leg pulled?
Aye, I do, and I know when it's meant to know. But you wanted it, don't you?
Aye, of course I wanted, of course I do. I'm obliged to you.
Guess well, you better be, hadn't you? Wouldn't do for you to be making too many enemies at once, would it? You wait till your Ethel catches you.
My Ethel? She's none of my blood in her, thank God. My Ethel,
You've really upset George this time. He's gone off to work without seeing her.
I've done him a favour, then.
Well, that's never been known.
He'd not have to work Sundays if it wasn't for her spendthrift ways.
Ethel, a spendthrift? Don't be daft. They've a job making ends meet. Huh. We've not all never had it so good, you know. Choose what your friends say.
My what?
You vote Tory, don't you?
I vote what? Me? Vote what?
Hey, don't you know when you're having your leg pulled?
Billy lives in the house George lived in, where I came with my mum when my dad left us. I've not been this end for years.
Changed?
Well, they've pulled down the old cobblers at the end there. Bit of spit and polish. Same bricks and mortar.
Different people.
Different? No, I wouldn't say so. We've a progress chaser at work. He's the image of George 20 years back. Drinks in the same club. Takes life as it comes and enjoys it.
Bit like somebody else I know.
Go on. Back in a sec.
Doesn't they like skeleton, then?
It's mucky. It's mucky than Cuddy.
That's saying somewhat, eh? They're a funny lot of Cuddy, mind you.
They're not.
They are, the nose. When they weighs them up.
They're a funny lot here.
That's talking about me now.
I meant others.
They went out here 60 or 70 years ago. Except a few farms, that's all. They sunk for a shaft about then. Your granddad lived in a little village near Skipton when they left to come here. His dad had to come to work in pit. There were no work where they come from.
How old was he?
Oh, 8-year-old when he come here. There were 7,000 people here then. They'd sunk 2 more shafts in houses they'd built. All them back-to-backs up where Tommy Harrison's here. That's where we lived first off. We come in a little cart with all we'd got.
You didn't.
So what?
If McGann were 8, you weren't born.
I didn't say a word.
You said, we come in a cart.
Ah, well, we did. I mean, I might not have been born, but I were one of them, weren't I? I mean, I were to come. I were one of them. Does they want me to tell you, doesn't they?
Looking for me?
Oh, hello, Billy. I've come to say I can't play tomorrow. Messing you about, am I?
No, I'll be all right. Dykey's playing. He's got 2 left hands, but we'll manage. Thanks for letting me know, anyway.
You're welcome.
I just come from the works. You know the union's calling the factory inspector to that crane in the foundry?
Stan didn't say anything to me about it. What's up with it?
Controls are dicky, they reckon. They got your uncle on slinging moulding boxes today.
George.
I said for him to watch out. You better take fair warning as well.
What of?
Me. I'm on the warpath. You've had it too soft with Fred in the chair. Now he's gone, you'll notice the temperature rising. Too many things being left undone.
Nay, not by me, Billy.
I know who by. But since you're the only one who'll listen, you can suffer for it.
I thought you might like a bit of stuffing to go with that.
Would you mind waiting a minute, Eileen? I'm trying to get an answer out of him.
Ethel.
No, I want it from him, Frank, not from you. I want to know what he said that sent my husband off to work without a word to me. I know it'd be something to do with politics. It would have to be, wouldn't it? It's all he pretends to know.
If you know what it was, you'll not need to ask, will you?
Don't you think it's time you packed up, old man? And what interest are politics to you at your age?
My age?
More to the point, what have you got to say that anybody wants to listen to?
What's my age got to do with
It's
it?
others than you that'll have to live in this world you lot have made, people like our Pat. It's them that should have their say in politics. You've had yours, for what good it ever did anybody. Oh, I never met anybody that benefited, I know that.
You're saying things are no better now than when she were born. They couldn't even afford a bloody cot.
And it's all thanks to you, is it? Was it you that found work for him when he'd to finish at pit? No, it was not. He'd to go traipsing off to Cornwall, hadn't he? All he's got to thank you for is for bringing him into the world. And you look around you, master. You deserve a medal for that, do you?
You know, no, you don't. You'd have had him touch his cap to anybody for a crust of bread, you would, in them days you're so fond to remember. It was me that put the marrow into his bones, what there was of it.
When I rant at him twice a day about having a mind of his own.
Your evil mind, that's what you give
I've
him.
done with you, master.
Not a mind of his own.
I've finished.
A mind of his own,
You'll pass your days without help from me in the future.
Help from you, me?
From this day on, I shall have nothing to say to you should you live to be 100. Which is more than likely, since the devil looks after his own. He'd keep you alive to torment folk.
You shouldn't have let it come to this, Dad. You live alone. I'll be in London more now that Frank's got this flat. How will you manage?
She did go on a bit, Eileen.
Aye, I know, but well, I'd have thought we'd problems enough already. I really would.
It'll be your turn next. Come on, let's get this bloody game finished.
Nay, I'll have to go. I've a pile of letters to answer.
Deserting me, are you?
I'll see you later, eh?
A mind of his own.
Not being called simple.
I had thee trained better and then I married John. She puts talk like that in the mouth to poison me. You know what it cost your mother and me to bring you three up? That's what politics is. You turn your back on politics and you live in muck for the rest of your life. You think you've had it bad. Well, we've had it worse, lad.
Your dad's right, George.
What's he going on at me for? I've said nought.
You've had no bairns to bring up. That's one thing worse. What bairns have you and the madam brought up?
You shouldn't take it out on him. He loves you, Jack.
Aye, and I loved him. To fill his belly and warm him. That's the love we're allowed. Iron is love.
The garden's a mess. Yeah, I'm usually out sweeping up leaves at this time of the year with the kids.
Oh, are they?
Haven't been able to get out and go and see them since I went back at the beginning of term.
Cassie seems well. Likes the house, does she?
Oh, she loves it. Never stops planning.
Loves it but wants to change it, eh? That's women for you.
Well, she's a perfectionist. Something to do with being brought up in Mizzy Street, I think.
Aye, Mizzy Street. It's scheduled to come down next year, they tell me. It's been condemned for years, all that ends. 15 years since the end of the war. It's a long, hard road from the intention to the deed.
Your grandfather still on the council?
Nah. No, he stood down a year or two back. He wanted me to put up in his place.
Not your cup of tea?
Yeah. I'd rather rail at them in the pub.
I suppose that goes for the board of directors, too. Is that why you wouldn't take Stan's job?
Happen. It was good of you to ask me, though.
A contented man, eh?
Well, there's some of the works that sweat on promotion. They've never had it so good, but they want it better. It keeps them awake at nights.
You know, we doubled production that first year after we modernised. Gone up 10% a year since then. We sold 500 engines last year. Don't you want to see the place go on growing? Most people would.
I'd like to see the foundry doing better. I've a soft spot for the foundry.
Jobs that the colliers can do when the pit's closed down.
Aye, jobs for colliers. You remember, eh?
Well, that's why you sold us that bit of land, wasn't it? There have been jobs for their sons since we expanded, though. Getting on for 250 now. Well, that's saved a few families from being broken up. Suppose someone could convince you that growth is the only answer.
Maybe it is.
Well, I wish I could find someone who'd convince me that it isn't. You know, I'm just a man that liked working in metal. I didn't exactly plan to be where I am.
It happens to you mostly. You don't plan. It happens.
Well, I hope Cassie isn't going to catch cold out there.
Cassie'll not catch cold. She's as tough as old boots is, Cassie.
You should spoil yourself. I do.
With 3 kids to bring up.
Well, you could have sent them to boarding school like we did.
With our sort of money. Sam's against that sort of thing anyway.
Oh, yes, his principles. I had all that from Dad. More than enough for a lifetime. Jessie used to get furious with me. It's an abdication of responsibility, she used to say.
Poor Jessie. Poor Morris.
Yes.
It's a bit worrying sometimes. He likes looking after the kids, but I wonder if we ought to encourage him.
You mean they filled the gap when he lost his own? A substitute. He takes their side sometimes against Sam. Sam knows why, of course, so he pretends it isn't happening. But it must be irritating. I see Morris every month at the board meeting. I sit in for Peter. He's very good, you know, Morris. I sit there fascinated while he trots out all his figures. Sam will be on the board if he takes that job. He won't take it. Why not? We think that... He thinks he needs the time more than the money. And what do you think? It's not my decision, is it? Where's his ambition, for God's sake? I mean, it's quite a job, you know. And his qualifications aren't exactly the tops. He knows that. Oh, well. You can take a horse to water, but you can't make it drink, I suppose. I told Cassie I didn't think you'd take it.
Oh? What'd she say?
She was a bit put out, I think.
She would be. She likes things her way, Cass does. He spoiled her. It was what she was looking for when she married him. Somebody that'd spoil her.
Well, can you blame her? She had precious little of it before. A slave to the lack of money, Dad used to say.
We don't need it, do we? The extra money.
Well, not desperately.
We've the shares I got for that bit of land I sold against a rainy day. A bit coming in off 'em. We've all we need.
Still travelling light, Sam.
Doing what?
Something you said to me once when you were being disapproving about Dad's apparent affluence. I like to travel light, you said, but wasted on me all this, you said. Good God, I thought a man of principle.
Go on.
I thought you a bit of a drag, as a matter of fact.
Boring?
Very.
Well, if you will look at the end before you're halfway through.
Galwick 425. Yes. No, this is Mrs. Crossman. No, he's asleep. Yes, go on. When? Well, have you been in touch with Mr. Barker or Mr. Thursko? Well, I'll come down. Yes. In 10 minutes or so. Yes. There's been an accident at the works in the foundry. That was the foreman. You are not going. I am. Seems that neither Stan nor Lawrence were at home, but they managed to get hold of Sam. Taking the chap to the hospital.
Is he badly hurt?
Well, they said he was hit by a moulding box.
Good heavens, have you had an accident?
Oh, I did that last year. Oh, that were a day to remember. His best shirt. Still is. Still wears it for best. I tell him, you dare take your coat off ever, I say. Oh, Pat's coming home next week and taking us out. She's got an interview at Leeds. Wants to do pathology now, whatever that means.
Where's she taking you?
Oh, wherever she thinks her dad'll like best, I don't come into it.
Go on.
I don't mind playing second fiddle. It's funny, isn't it? I mean, what have they in common besides he's her dad? They dote on each other. I said to her once, joking, you know, what's he got that I haven't? He's what it's all about, she said.
What What did she mean?
I don't know. It's all I could get out of her. He's what it's all about, she said.
Nobody move that or touch anything.
It's all right, Billy. We've been told. Jones has said.
I'm Mrs. Crossman. Which of you's the foreman?
Jones. He's not here. He's gone to the telephone.
Cassie? Probably won't remember me. Billy Tripp. I knew your dad when he was living in Mizzy Street.
Oh, yes. Well, what happened?
Moulding box swung back on him. 3 ton of weight in there. Controls faltered, we think.
Well, what makes you think so?
It's done it before, been like it for ages. Only just asked for the factory inspector to come and have a look at it.
It's been wrong for as long as that, and you've only just sent for him.
Yes, it's not our job anyway, it's the management.
Well, I'll tell my husband. He can't have known about it, or would have had it seen to.
His works manager knew about it.
Yes, well, I'll tell him what you say.
Her dad was the best Labour councillor we've had round here in his time. Not much of Mizzy Street left in her.
Oh, Sam.
Cassie,
I came instead of Peter.
I've been with the ambulance.
Is he badly hurt, the workman?
He was dead when they got to the hospital.
Oh. They seem to think it's the management's fault in there.
It is the management's fault.
Was it somebody you knew?
Aye. It was somebody I knew.
How is she?
She's gone off, I think, for all she was fighting it. You did a right job to persuade her to have that injection. She kept wanting to go to the hospital. I think she only half believes it now.
Oh, he left a prescription on there.
Did he say which chemist was open?
Could is the nearest, he said.
Well, I'll wait for Sam to come back with the car.
Still no sign of Dad.
There's nobody seen him.
Larry Baxter said he saw him walking towards Pitt Fields about half an hour before we heard. I've been twice to the allotment.
Well, don't let anyone else tell him, Frank. He's an old man.
A flaming row there.
I know, it'll crucify him.
I'll go and look for him again in a minute. He can't be far off. It's been dark for an hour or more.
Did you sign those letters I typed for you?
Oh, I didn't know you'd finished them. Where are they?
On living room table. There's one to Board of Trade and there's 6 for that parents' meeting at the weekend. I suppose we better ring their Pat in London.
Tried, there was no answer. It's Sunday. She's probably out demonstrating with C&D somewhere.
Well, let's hope she doesn't get herself arrested this time. She's going to have enough to cope with.
I'll try again later on.
And what about you? Must you go back tomorrow?
I don't know. We'll see. I'll have a word with Sam.
All his years down the pit and he gets killed doing a labouring job in a foundry.
Another mucky job. That was his life. One mucky job after another. He liked being a collier, though. A job most folks wouldn't thank you for it twice the money. And we couldn't even guarantee him work.
We couldn't.
Us. Society, you and me. Do you remember what Dad used to say when he went for a skeg of coal? Everybody wants to warm themselves at it, but nobody wants to get it. Old George, yeah. I can't take it in.
If only Sam had gotten that lighter job, he might never have...
Sam,
I've called for me, Mac.
on the chair.
I'm going round to George's.
Yes, all right.
Where are the kids?
They're upstairs playing.
Don't say anything to him yet. They were fond of him. They've not lost anybody before. We'll break it to them later.
Do you want me to come with you?
No, stay here.
Well, I can miss church if you want me to hang on.
Church? Ah, no, that's all right, Morris. Better if she stays here, eh?
You've not had anything to eat.
I'll get something round there. See you later, eh?
Sam? I'm sorry.
Well, there'll have to be an investigation.
They said it was the crane controls, or that's what they thought it was.
Yes, that's what Stan assumed.
Stan?
Yeah, he rang up just after he'd gone about something else. I told him there'd been an accident involving a moulding box. He said it'd be the crane.
There was a man there, I think he was the shop steward.
Not Billy Tripp?
He said that the union had called in the factory inspector because the management hadn't. Or something like that. I told Sam they were blaming the management and he said they were right.
Yeah. I think they probably are.
Well, what did Stan say?
Well, he said that Sam was supposed to deal with it weeks ago.
I put a kettle on for Bottles to air Cat's bed. She'll get a train tonight if you catch her in time. Frank?
I made an excuse because I felt ashamed of him.
An excuse?
I was supposed to take him round the House of Commons with his friends. My brother will see to it for us, he'd have told him. He's an MP. Proud of me.
Frank, don't.
He was what I was down there for, because I'd been educated and he hadn't. He stayed up here and slogged while I went down there and argued. Division of labour. There was no call for him to be proud of me. Other way around, if anything. He said to me once, "We shall depend on you," he said.
He'd have understood.
Oh, he understood all right. He fell over backwards to make me feel he understood, so I'd not feel bad about it. They weren't all that drunk. I could have taken them round.
Well, we all do things we wish we hadn't.
I've changed, haven't I? Since I first went down there.
Changed? In what way?
Well, I sometimes feel I've lost sight of what I'm supposed to be doing down there. It was like that when I packed up teaching. I needed a change. It had come to be just another job over the years.
Well, we all need a change.
What have I changed to now? I'm too old, aren't I? I shall hang on because there's nothing else I can turn to.
Well, maybe if you can see things as honestly as that, maybe you can do something about it.
And what about you? Don't you ever feel you need to change?
Only little things, nothing big. I can remember what my life used to be like. Helps me stay content, I suppose. Happy with what I've got.
Sorry I took a time.
Oh, I forgot to tell you. Sarah phoned when I was round at home. Said he'd had nothing to eat.
Oh, I'm sorry, what would you like?
No, I'm all right. Later, maybe. Where's Ethel?
She's upstairs lying down. Doctor gave her an injection. I'll go up in a minute.
Grandad?
I've looked all over for him. He went off walking.
He doesn't know, then?
No.
There's a light in his house.
Oh, he's back then. I shall have to go round and tell him, won't I?
George had a row with him before he went to work.
Yes, I know.
Look, I shall probably stop round there with him. It's better if we don't come round here just now. She might come down.
Oh, I didn't think of that.
Ah, well, I'll go then.
I'll come round in a bit.
Aye, all right then.
Well, we'll have it to get through, I suppose.
All right.
How did... Was he killed outright?
Aye, he was.
Get going, you bloody thing.
Dad?
Well, I can't hold this bloody spill still.
Where have you been?
Club?
Oh, no wonder I couldn't find you. I didn't know you remember still. You never go.
Oh, I remember.
You been for a pint, eh?
I've had a pint, aye. What of it? You saying I'm the worse for it?
Aye?
No, I'm better for it. Better I am. And don't you start on at me. I've had enough for one day. Too old for politics, she said. He'll be too old to live next.
Dad.
Now, you listen to me. You know why you made somebody your life and he's still back where he started? You know why?
Dad,
I'll
Dad.
tell you for why. Because you listened to me and he didn't. You cared and he cared not. He's where he is because that's what he deserves.
Don't go on, Dad.
All my life, I've believed opposite. That we've been made as we are with them.
Dad, he's dead.
He's what? What's that?
He's been killed in an accident.
What are you on about? Who has?
Sam, tell him.
That's right, Grandad.
Ethel.
They're not working. What he give me? The doctor.
All right.
Not working.
All right, love. Come and sit down.
I can feel it still here.
We've got some tablets to go for. You'll be all right.
Get off me with it. There. They've told me. They've told me.
Take him away from me, somebody. Take him away from me.